Hello. Hello.
Hiya.
Well, welcome to Know Your Matter. Sorry, I'm just getting comfortable. I always consider cutting those bits out, and then I think, no. Deal with it.
These are the moments that we laugh the most and people laugh at us. Oh, no, sorry, that's laugh with us. I'm hoping.
Maybe.
Aren't you glad already that I didn't put them bracelets on this morning?
Yeah, that would have been so annoying, wouldn't it?
For you.
For anyone listening. Mum had jingly bracelets on this morning.
I did that. Can I just point out, I did this thing yesterday where I'd gone into the city to get a couple of bits and pieces, and I'd seen this reel with this woman wearing these jangly bracelets, and there's three, like, I love tortoiseshell brown kind of resin ones, and then there's two gold ones, and I absolutely love them. But I did, as I was buying them, having the back of my head, if only you'd kept these from the last time you had them, love.
Yeah.
Because you have had all of this stuff, and
in fact, you had them, and then you gave them to me, and then I got rid of them.
Yeah, and I'm like, but this is what... Did I? But this is what I do, and I'm like, this is where I now think back to, like, all the clothes and stuff like that. Man, I'm saying that, they wouldn't still be as quite as in fashion, but it is fascinating how we get rid of stuff. Anyway, that's not the point of the podcast today, is it? So I will just cut myself short.
Well, I actually have a very specific question today, and I wrote it down. So I don't forget it, because you asked me in the car on the way, what are we talking about? And I was like, I don't know, it's gone. So my question for you today, and there's a reason behind it, is have you ever done something that was really brave and then just immediately shut down? Error 404.
Are you going to ask me the question first? Do you want me to
I'm
answer
asking
it?
you the question before
yes.
I tell mine.
And my good friend Julie may not know this, but a number of years ago when so my friend worked at a place called Fitness First, and the company that I worked for went into collaboration with them. And after being at the gym, so Fitness First was a gym, just to clarify, I had this very bright idea, because both of my elder cousins had run the Great North Run, that's what I was going to do. So I did a very brave thing, and I put myself forward for the team that were going to run for Fitness First. And then went home and went...
Shit.
What have I done? I think at that point, I might have run outside a couple of times. Do you know what's really funny? Because that's one story, but the minute that I've told you that story right now, I can see many stories in my head. Literally, the moment that I said yes to being on the training team that I was part of and I adored, but the minute that I did it, and then I thought, what have I done?
Just pure
What
panic.
have I done? Tell me about yours.
I think...
I do know it, but tell me a bit more.
So, I obviously am running 2 accounts at the minute. I'm running the business account Lauren done, and I'm running Simply I Like It, which is my art account. And I am just loving it. I'm loving being back in the art stuff again. And what's really nice, I've had loads of people reach out to me and be like, I'm so glad you're painting again. And it's like, oh, thanks.
People are noticing.
Yeah, it's really lovely. And one of the things I want to do is I want to illustrate for books. Like, I've always wanted to do that. And one of the things that I just had this thought, I was like, I'd love to do character art. Like, people, like really capture what people see in their heads and turn these into characters for them, so they can see their own creations in illustration form without using AI. And so I was really brave. And I thought, what's the best way to do this? The best way to do this is just to fucking do it. But I don't have any experience. I don't know if I've got the illustrator, like, knack or muscle. I don't know if it needs working on, or if it's just something that I'm not going to be able to do. Anyway, so I thought I'll offer it to a couple of people for free, work with them, get their ideas. Worst possible scenario is that they know their character deeper. That's the worst. Even if I can't deliver anything, that's the worst possible scenario for them. Best possible scenario, they get these character arts that they can now share, they can use to promote their work. And I get a mention like, oh, look at this art that Lauren's done, kind of thing. That was my theory. So I put it on Threads and got inundated. I thought I'd be lucky to have 3 people. That was my thought. I was like, right, I'll offer it, and hopefully at least 3 people will reach out. I've been inundated. Like, hundreds of people have reached out and been like, oh, I love your work. Can you do this? And I'm like, oh, my fucking Christ. So I was like, right, okay. I chose 3 different completely different things, 3 things that were going to be challenging. One's like an animal character. One is a pairing, a duo, like a mythical creature and a woman, but they're like, yeah. And then another one is like a non-binary person. So these are the 3 characters. And these people have been sending me their blurbs, their work. It's stunning. I want to read all of these books. I can't wait. I got all of this stuff. I got so excited. And since I put it out there and since those people have all responded to me, I haven't done a single piece of art. Like, I gave up the March challenge. Just stopped doing it. I stopped painting the mushrooms. I just stopped everything. Couldn't do it. The only thing I've been doing is drawing my frogs, which, by the way, if you haven't seen on Instagram yet, are my favourite thing to have ever come out of my hands. I love him, Mr. Frog.
He's got a voice, hasn't he?
Yeah. He does. And I love him. He's great. And do you know what I love about him? I love that he's got nothing on his face. It's just like, so I howled yesterday drawing the frogs at the lake house, at the club and stuff, and putting his little suit on. I howled drawing it. Anyway, he's my favourite thing. Other than him, I haven't done anything. And I didn't realise it until I was doing my morning pages, because obviously we're getting used to it, and I could feel it. Like, every time I wanted to make something, I had this like tightness across my back, like, ugh. And I didn't know what to do. I wasn't really thinking about it. I just kept procrastinating, finding other things that were more important. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, like the voice, the thought that I wasn't catching the thought that I had was, I think I'm just going to delete my accounts. Just disappear off the face of the earth.
There's 2 versions of me in my head right now. There's the part of me that's going, are you taking the mick? I didn't want to say mick, actually. I wanted to say taking the piss. And then the other part of me that's going,
yeah,
okay.
So that's it. I was like, just going to delete all my accounts, and then nobody will know that it was me. And then I don't have to do it. And then I was like, okay, pal. Okay, I hear you. Right, okay, what are we scared of? And it was like, what if we're shit? What if we're shit and everyone hates us? What if we're shit and what if we can't deliver? And I was like, okay, I hear that. And it was like, and we can't do anything else because we've said we're going to do that. So I can't paint Hamish because Hamish isn't for anyone in particular. So I need to finish these character arts before I can do it. And I could hear it. I could hear this spiral. And I was like,
the
okay,
panic.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you, mate. And I didn't argue with it. I wasn't like, no, it'll be fine. I didn't try and bully it. I just heard it and was like, okay. And as soon as I literally finished the morning pages, sat down at my desk, got my iPad out, drew a sketch of the first one. That's what I did. I'm going to show you it right now. And I drew this. I drew it. I just drew this first sketch of these 2 characters, and I am really proud of it. Obviously, people listening at home, you'll have to just wait.
Oh, wow.
So this is
incredible.
These are the 2 characters who are together.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So that's just and then I've sent the author a picture of that, and I've said, this is the initial sketch. I want to check body proportions, vibe, like, you know, these are, one of the characters is non-binary and mythical, one of the characters is a woman, but she wasn't supposed to be a waif. Like, is she curvy enough? Like, is this character like, can you tell? Like, is this what you're seeing? So I've sent it. This is what I've made. What do you think? And it just, I think I've had quite a few people reach out to me actually this week for similar things, more than one person. I've started being really honest about these thoughts that I have. And I don't know if you saw my story about the giraffe painting.
I haven't.
So Mum doesn't spend a huge amount of time on Instagram, which is really good. I do. So I obviously sold the giraffe painting print, and I sold. She bought it the first day that I put it out there. She bought it big A3. It was the first print I'd ever done. I hadn't even seen a mock-up of it. I didn't know what it was going to be like or anything. And she was really excited about it. Messaged me like, I can't wait for it to come. This is like, I've been looking for art for my office for such a long time. And then this came up and I thought, this is it. This is right. I can buy from a friend, like this kind of thing. And it was great. And then and I was like, oh my gosh, maybe you could film an unboxing for me. We were kind of like, this is like really cute. And then she never said anything. So I got a notification saying it had been delivered and nothing. And instead of reaching out and going, just want to check everything's okay, I couldn't physically do it.
Yeah.
Because the fear of her being like, I fucking hate it. I want a refund. Like, where's that from? But that was what my head was doing. It was going, she's going to fucking hate it. She hates you. She doesn't even like you anymore. Like, honestly. And I was like, what are you doing? So I didn't.
Can I just say, protecting you from reaching out?
Yeah, from rejection.
Literally,
just
and from
me from that humiliation.
any of that. Yeah.
And anyway, I went into my Instagram because I think that's also been putting me off going into my art Instagram account. And I went into my art Instagram a couple of days ago, and there was a voice note from her, which I procrastinated listening to for a couple of hours. And then I was like, get over it and fucking listen to it. Press play. She had been procrastinating unboxing it because she knew that I wanted a video of it, and her ADHD had been triggered by me wanting a video, so she couldn't unbox it until she filmed it. So she was like, I'm so sorry, I've had to just not film it. And I was like, oh, it was nothing to do with me. Right, okay. But then it got better, because then she was like, and I've framed it, immediately framed it. I could not love it more. It's absolutely stunning. And it's not going in my office. I can't keep it in my office. It's too beautiful. It's going pride of place in my living room. She's like, everybody has asked me about it. 3 or 4 of my friends have asked me who's painted it. And my mum wants a link to buy one for herself.
Anyway, if you're not watching this, I'm literally, I'm just, you know when you kind of like, okay, Lauren, what have you learned from this whole situation?
Everything that I already knew. Thank you very much. Condescending fuck.
I wasn't being condescending.
I just, yeah, I think it's hard when you get to a point where you think you catch them quicker and then you don't. But it's because this is new to me again. Because even though I've done all of the art stuff before, this is new to me again. And so it feels raw, you know? Like it feels... So it's like, I've started catching them quite quickly when they do certain things. Like if someone says something or Dave says something or whatever, I feel like I can catch them quite quickly, these thoughts. But when it's new, I think it's because my art's so personal to me.
Yeah.
And because it feels like something that matters to me, like a lot. So I feel really protective of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. And I suppose it's because actually the version of me that's the artist is the little 6-year-old. And like, I'm like fiercely protective of her. You know what I mean? But yeah. What would you say to someone who... Because it was procrastination.
You said something about it earlier that is, I find really interesting, that other people have often said to me, and I've had this, a current client who feels that they're lazy. And I think, it's that whole bit about wanting to do something that really matters to you, and then you can't do it. And the challenge that we've got is that it's not just then the procrastination, it's the self-criticism that we give ourselves about the procrastination. It's the not it's not understand, and it's that whole bit, because actually procrastination isn't laziness. It's about emotional regulation. It is about exactly what you were talking about. It's the fear, it's the the worry, the doubt, all of these things that happen to us. I've got it going on at the minute. I talked about it last night because I think this is where unlocking for me is really fascinating.
It's changing my life, honestly. I could not be more grateful to you for that.
We're 10 weeks in, aren't we? We're going into the 10th week this week. And last night, just to give you a little hint of what we were talking about, once we'd all shared and reflected, oh no, my God, I have begun to read all of my notes, my pages and pages of notes, and just the compassion that I feel for the woman that I was when I started it, and the place that I was in. But just to come back to last night, which was about restoring a sense of self-protection. And we've been talking in the last couple of weeks about creative blocks and things like that. And, last night was really an opportunity to look at what you do. So just remind me, because when you said that you knew that you needed to go and do it, you were doing anything but doing the painting and everything. So you got all these messages, whatever it was hit you, you could feel it in your back.
Yeah,
what
so
were you
I've
doing
rearranged
instead?
my living room.
There it is,
I've
yeah.
rearranged my office. I've cleaned all the windows. I mean, my house is looking great. I've cleaned the oven. I gave a load of stuff away to charity.
Everything but...
I replaced my diesel filter in my car, which I then had to still scrap because I couldn't fix the next bit.
Work,
it's
did
fine.
it? But that, I think it's... so it's that.
What did I call it to someone the other day? Productive procrastination.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't procrastinating and I wasn't sitting stuck. And I think a lot of people think that, being in freeze mode, I think they think it means like physically being stuck still. But it wasn't. I was still in exactly the same place. I was just looking really busy while I was stood there. Like super busy. I looked so productive. If you looked at this week, you'd have been like, oh, Lauren, you got so much done. But did I get anything I actually wanted to get done?
That's the difference, isn't it?
No.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
And it's that bit, isn't it? And it's this whole understanding what's underneath it. And she talks, Julia Cameron in the book talks about how, we have certain things that we do that enable these blocks. So, yours was cleaning. We were talking about that last night, weren't we? Yeah. Actually, rather than go and do the very thing that I want to go and do, I go clean, or I work.
I do that a lot. I'll go and make a social media post, or I'll start like writing out strategy that I don't need to write out again.
Or I watch things.
Tell them what you're watching.
I might be watching The Pit.
A lot of people are talking about it online.
Do you know what it is?
I do love him, though.
Do you know what it is? Noah Wiley. 1,000%, solid 100%. And it isn't even... Do you know what? I just have this vision of him in ER. So I am a massive ER fan. Sorry, we had slightly detouring. But
Is it a sequel?
No, it's got nothing to do with ER. No.
Oh, he just happens to be playing a doctor.
Yeah. He's actually the chief of the ER. Is who he is now. So bearing in mind that the very first moment I ever saw John Carter, which was Noah Wiley's character in ER, here he is, this kind of bumbling, brand new student doctor, arriving. George Clooney sees him, so does Mark Green's character.
That George Clooney was in there.
All of
I've
the
never seen ER. I know. I'm sorry.
It's funny because I've watched the first series again and I adore it.
Have you?
But Noah Wiley and The Pit, I'd heard a lot about it. And instead of being, there's ER was an episode where you saw what was going on for that hour. And then it was a different episode. And actually, The Pit's different. And what I like about The Pit is that it is 15 hours in one day. It follows their whole shift. So from 7 a.m, right the way through till about 10 o'clock at night while they're all on shift, and what happens. So every episode is an hour.
And ends at the night.
It's the next hour. And then so it follows on a whole day. It's so different. And I'm loving the fact that I'm talking about this rather than go back and talk about what we were talking about, but I am going to. So it's brilliant. We'll come back. So for me, that's what mine does. It finds any other way. Eating.
Yeah.
So I'll go eat something. I do that in a day. If I'm bored or I've got something, I find myself going in the kitchen.
Because I'm bored.
But I do.
I was being the Grinch.
I am the Grinch. I know. I was literally going to say, I know where it comes from. But isn't that funny? Because there's these little clues.
I do as well.
So it's recognising what these blocks are.
Doom
what
scrolling.
Are these things that exactly? And I think we had all of those. And then somebody had said, I work harder. I'll add more work in, I do those things. So it was fascinating to kind of look. So we did a number of things last night, didn't we?
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to say that the most interesting part for me is that all of us had them.
All of us.
I think we just do this thing, don't we, where our brains go, I'm the only person. It's fucking not. Not a single human experience is unique. I just flat out don't believe it.
Yeah.
There are too many of us for there not to be other people who agree with you. And I just think that that's quite a nice way to sit, because sometimes I think about what I'm about to say and I'm like, what if this sounds stupid? And I'm like, somebody somewhere won't think it is.
That's for me. That's
Common humanity.
Yeah, common humanity. That's the self-compassion. That's the moment
nice
where
though,
you
innit?
think it won't be just me. I'm not the only person. And what I love about common humanity is it's not comparison. Common humanity is being able to even just imagine that there's other women across the world, you know, that are in their coaching business, you know, wanting to create a workbook and just not. Because that is it for me. You know, when you think about what you're saying with the art stuff, you know, more than anything, I have worked. I know since I started unlocking, I've worked so hard on the House of You. I love what I've created in terms of, you know, when you get started with it, there's a survey that you'll do, which then means that we're actually at where you're starting from much more intimately than I would have done. So I would have got all that information. But this really, I've thought about the questions what I want you to be able to understand about yourself at the beginning, which will help you then to kind of almost have an idea of what you would love to be different without having to set goals. You know, I've got then each of the months I've created a methodology which I've never had before, the whole restore, which I know we've talked about. So I've done that. I've thought about thought leadership. I've got, you know, blogs that I'm in the process of writing and all of this kind of stuff. And I know that now the next step when I'm back is now I start talking about it. And I start talking about it a lot because I'm bloody proud of it. And I do think that I know because I've been using it. I'm just refining it. I know the difference that it can make.
Because it's wild.
And it's incredible. And these workbooks matter. Because as somebody that, you know, knows, I work best if I can make notes. I work best if I'm reading things. I've got stuff to keep. And that's what I always want. I want people to have a whole set of evidence of what they've done, what they've learned about themselves, what they've noticed, so they can see the difference and the shifts in themselves. Can I do the workbooks? No, I can't. No, I can't. In fact, I've started, I did start to draw the first one, the survey. So I've got the first 4 pages. And then I procrastinated, and I knew I was doing it because I could feel my brain going, hello. If you didn't, obviously I'm aware that not everybody's watching this. So I just literally, I could see there's a part of me that's going, hello, are we doing this? Are we doing? And there's a part of me just looking at my phone going, no, I'm just going to ignore you. I can't hear you. Suddenly got selective hearing.
I can hear you, but I won't.
Is that Olaf?
Elsa.
Or Elsa. I knew it must be something. How did I know that was Frozen? But I think it's that understanding, isn't it? This.
And ignore your whispers that I wish would go away.
Exactly. But I think that's what we do. We've got that little part in us. I think what's amazing is when you start to look around you, even that, everywhere. Look at Frozen. There's so much in it about the human nature.
Yeah.
You know, Frozen, Inside Out, The Grinch, all of these things, that show us that actually we're not weird, because I often think I'm weird. You said there about feeling isolated, like it's only you.
I wrote in my morning pages this morning, I just don't want to be a loser. I haven't used the word loser since I was about 8.
Which shows you maybe which part of you was writing your morning pages this morning and allowing it to come out. And I think it is that part, something you did, which we've talked about a lot, and I know you've been practicing a lot, is sitting with the feeling.
Yeah.
Because it is that part. We don't like to sit with discomfort, and it is not very comfortable to sit feeling bored. It's not very comfortable to sit thinking that you're actually a loser, or that you're not very good at something. Because that's the whole reason why I'm not doing the workbooks. Is that in the back of my head I can see it, I just can't get it written down on the page what I want it to be. I'm now judging the words, bearing in mind that this is a workbook. It doesn't need to be the work. I will do the work with the person. All it needs to do is capture their thinking. And I've realised that.
You can have multiple drafts of the workbook too.
Exactly.
Because that's one of the things that I've realised is that I like, my first draft has to be perfect.
But I was about to say, procrastination and perfectionism live hand in hand.
Oh, yeah.
And when you've got that going on, so it is that part that, if it's not good enough. And the challenge is that when you hear repeated messages like that from wherever,
Yeah.
it's then a challenge to be able to, just literally ignore it when it first comes in. For so many of us, it is about the regulation. It's about noticing it. It's about recognizing. It's about knowing that, you know what, it's a thought and you don't have to believe it. And it's not true. It's not true. And then find the evidence, which is interesting because that's what you've been doing.
Yeah. It's really interesting, actually, because I think when we first started all of this, like, especially doing positive intelligence, because I think that's where it kind of all started for me, with like really noticing how often this happens to me. I remember being like, I just didn't understand how it would change without purposefully doing something about it. So like when the thought came up for me, when I noticed it this morning and I could hear it being like, everyone's gonna hate you, and then like about the art, and then I remember when I first started, I'd automatically get into a fight with it. So I'd be like trying to convince it. So I'd, without realising it, be completely intellectualising the thought. So I'd be like trying to logic my way out of the thought without even realising that's what I was doing. But if the thought was like, everyone's going to hate you, I'd be like, it doesn't matter if everyone hates you. No one else's opinion matters. And then I'd still be there. I'd still be there. So like this morning to just have been like, oh yeah, I hear that. Ugh. I hate when we feel like everyone's going to hate us. Like, it's just so gross. And to not have done anything specific and then been able to do that, like to draw that sketch. And I'm really proud of that sketch.
I'm not surprised. It's amazing.
Like,
and it's that whole bit. So just to add, because what I've noticed with what you said, so actually you did do something. What you did was showed yourself compassion. Yeah,
sorry.
And I think it's
that people expect it to be this big action.
Oh yeah, it's not. In fact, sometimes it's intercepting it by noticing it and being able to go. Even my favourite word, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fascinating thought. Hello.
Right.
Which part of my brain's that come from? Yeah, maybe we're not going to listen to that one.
Yeah.
And it's so a little bit of lightness, a little bit of fun.
I do a lot of hi pal.
Oh, hi pal. Exactly.
Hi pal.
And that's a lot of what I teach clients is how to do it and the practice of it and noticing. And it's just, we've got these incredible brains that, are designed to keep us alive. And they've learnt a lot of patterns that have worked in the past of how to keep us alive. And sadly for us now, a lot of them patterns do not work. They don't work anymore. No. And of course, one of the things, and because I did get some notes on my phone about procrastination, and particularly around being neurodiverse, because obviously what we know is that when we think about tasks being activated in a neurodiverse brain, it doesn't happen in the same way. There's got to be urgency. There's got to be novelty. There's got to be interest. I love this word. I read this earlier, looming consequence. Is this the me that hasn't even started to consider what I'm going to pack?
I never packed on the day.
No. But I don't. Well, no. Oh no, I can't pack on the day because we'll be on a train at 10 to 9. So it needs to be today, the night before. But it is that real kind of interest based. It needs to be, and one of the things that Julia Cameron said that I absolutely loved last week, when we were doing unlocking, and it really struck with me, was making things more playful. And I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, about the playfulness.
I have that written on my wall at the minute.
Yeah.
Can we make this more fun?
Can we make this more fun?
If there's anything at all, can we make it more fun?
Yeah. So when you've got something that you need to do, and I'm just realising now, because actually this week it did work with some of the things that I was doing. And I'd like to say, because I did share it on here, that one of the things I was going to do was write a book, and it is now beginning. And we're in progress, and I had fun with that and what I wanted to write and all of that, and it just made it like, kind of a really enjoyable experience. But I realised that I didn't do that with the workbook. But that whole bit she talks about, is the place that you work in and, the things that you're doing, are they fun? Do you get enjoyment out of it? She said, she was talking about getting up to do the morning pages, and how, if you feel like you have to go and do it, so you can almost imagine this like fight in your head. Oh, I don't want to get up, don't want to do it, and you're like, oh, well, we need to do it. There's the fight. We need to do it. This is what we're supposed to be doing. It's like, no wonder it doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, if it's like, oh, I don't want to do it, it's like, oh, what? Could we go on an adventure?
You mean like I do with my 4-year-old?
Yeah, but I think this is the bit.
Game, isn't
we
it?
talk to little children.
Yeah.
Like we know we need to make things fun.
Yeah.
Of course they don't want to get dressed and put their shoes on. Of course they don't want to go to school some days. How do we work with them?
Do you want to make it a race?
Yeah, but it is that.
I wrote something today. There are 2 things. I forgot the first one, but I'm hoping it'll come back while I say this. I wrote a thing today that was like, because I think quite a lot of people struggle with the inner child thing. Like, I don't, obviously. All I do is talk about my inner child. So I wrote today, I was like, if you're struggling to talk to your inner child, try and talk to your inner dog. Yeah, because everyone talks to their dogs like, oh, you need a little drink. A little drink. Oh, I love you. You've never done anything bad in your whole life. You're such a good person. Oh, look, such a good boy. Imagine talking to yourself like a dog. And then when Archie doesn't want to get out of his bed, my dog, Archie, and I'm like, come on. And he's like, he just looks at me. And then I'm like, you want to come with me for a walk? And he's like, oh my God, yes, I want to come with you for a walk. That's exactly what we did. Oh, that was it. Making it fun. I was thinking about taxes. Don't know why. But I was posting about this on Threads because I don't apparently live my life in real life. I only live it on social media. And someone was like, she made a receipts tree. So she got like a cardboard and she pins her receipts to it and she makes a tree.
I like that.
So she keeps them all. I know, and I thought that might be useful for you because you keep talking about getting a book.
It's in my they're all in my purse.
I know.
Isn't it?
Imagine if you
I just need to remember to take photographs.
And then it'd be there and it'd be like a little decoration for you. But by the end of the year, you're like, oh, there's my tree.
It is interesting, this whole thing about, because again, last night, one of the things we were talking about was, how would you spoil a little person that you love?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry that I'd zoned out at that point.
No, that was fine. It was a long day yesterday. But how would you spoil somebody? Well, I mean, let's ask the question now then. How would you spoil somebody little that you loved?
I don't know. It would depend on the child.
Can I go first?
Yeah.
When I think about the kids coming, so Arlo or Ezra or Bella, I'm already thinking about the gorgeous things I want them to eat and what would make them feel great. I think about, Mia and Flo coming and staying, and I think about having all of the games we're going to play. I've already thought about what we're going to do. I'm going to make it fun. What can we watch? What kind of snacks might we need? Can you see? It's all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, mine would definitely be snacks, crafting.
Yeah.
Cuddled up on the sofa under a duvet.
Yeah, where can we go? If we plan something, which park are we going to go to in the morning? What might they like to do? Hot chocolate with... We did that. So it's that, isn't it? So it's like, in what way can I show that love to myself? Yeah. And all of this, I think this is where, when you think about emotional regulation, think about procrastination, we've been taught that to be successful and to get things done, we need to be hard on ourselves. Sayings like no pain, no gain. I don't know about anybody else. I don't work well I do. I do get results, but not long term.
Yeah.
I can't keep it going. And this is the difference. It's short term versus
But also,
longer term.
I don't enjoy it.
No, you don't.
And I'm only here once.
Exactly.
And I have a finite amount of time. Why wouldn't I want to spend every day doing something fun?
And doing something very loving and spoiling myself in that way. But here's the bit, because it's selfish, because it's you're spoiled brat. It's all of this context within it.
Interestingly, that was because I was doing a lot of research into the patriarchy and like manifestations of the patriarchy and stuff. Because I was writing a carousel a little while ago about how whimsy will destroy the patriarchy in the long term. And I can't stop thinking about it in like my day-to-day and stuff, and the way I watch people behave, and that kind of be serious. All of the best leaders I know, I think about the best boss I've ever had from a job. I think about Narlin, who was the best boss I ever had in a sales job. I didn't particularly enjoy the job because cold calling's shit.
Not easy.
But he, super playful. Super playful, not like super serious, not like overly anything, get stuff done, really like having the best year ever, like super professional but playful. And like that's the opposite of what the patriarchy demands. Like it demands you to be serious, and I think because you can't intimidate somebody who's playful. You can't intimidate somebody who's willing to laugh or make a joke or be humorous or be silly, like, and not at the expense of other people either. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I just think it's amazing. Anyway, so if someone was listening to this and they were like, I do that all the time with the procrastination, like they've got something. In fact, I want you to bring it to mind, dear listeners. What's the thing? Everyone's got one. What's the task? The task that you've been meaning to do for ages and you've not done it. Mine, obviously, apart from the art, is the set of drawers in Arlo's bedroom that are full of his old baby clothes that I keep telling myself I'm going to put on Vinted, but I'm not, because I can't be arsed. I keep procrastinating that. Bring your task to mind. And now Jackie is going to give us some amazing thoughts.
My first would be, ouch, you just hurt your elbow again, didn't you?
I did.
Is to sit with what thoughts come up. So when you think about that task, what are you actually thinking? You know, what emotions do you notice? What do you feel and sense in your body? You know, you mentioned a little bit ago about the sensation in your back, the tightness. We know from previous conversations, the meat hooks, the way that you know sticks in your back, and actually how we can go into fight, flight, or freeze. And we begin to do something else. If you notice that you've got a task and this may not happen straight away. It might be now that you're already starting to notice with it. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, write down what your thoughts are going through your head. You know, what is happening. It'll be likely fear, worry, anxiety, doubt.
Yeah.
They'll be the things that'll be running through your head, and actually being able to get them down on paper. Take 5 minutes. Do a bit of wild writing. You know, don't take your pen off the paper. Let it out. Sit with it. Notice how long it stays in you, because actually, I don't think we've been taught to sit with discomfort, as I mentioned before, and you can start to teach yourself to do that. So we're not, you know. Pick a little task. You know, if actually there's bigger tasks and you know that you might need to do a little bit more work with that, just start with the small stuff. Start with the small stuff. What's
like the
happening?
drawer full of stuff that you've not
and
cleared
then
out
and
or
then
whatever.
notice what it is that is coming up for you, and then just get a bit playful. One of the things that for me that I know is one of my saboteurs that arrives in this moment is, and it is linked to procrastination, is the avoider. I'll avoid it. And a really great step to take is, what's the smallest step that you could take to be able to look at doing that task? And it might even be that the smallest step that you can take is the fact that you are sitting with the discomfort. It may be that the next smallest task is actually to make a list of all of the things that you actually need to do.
Yeah.
And then give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back if you do the first bit. Now, you might walk away. It's okay. When you're ready, come back. Look at it again. What's the next bit that you can do? And it is this bit about breaking it down into smaller bits, because the avoider promises you, the saboteur promises you that it'll be okay, you'll sort it later. You don't. You don't. How many of us have got things? I'm literally thinking about the second bedroom downstairs, which has got about 15 swatches of colour on it. You know, and I've got the opportunity to do what I want, but there's a part of my head that's like, well, you're not going to do a good job of that, are you? You're not very good at decorating, are you? And what if you need to do something that you don't actually know what to do? And where are you going to put all of that stuff that you've got? And it's like, I know this. I know this. And it is that. And it's like, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable when we're a beginner. That's another thing, the beginner mindset. You know, if you've got somebody that was, think of a child. I mean, the obvious one is when a baby learns how to walk and becomes a toddler. We don't give up. You know, we're not like, oh, well, you crap at that, mate. Why don't you just take a seat and sit down forever? Every time they fall over, get them back up. You know, it's like we give them reassurance. We acknowledge and validate the fact that they're frustrated. We do not do that to ourselves. So please, give yourself that compassion. Recognise you won't be the only one, and sit with the emotion. Notice the feelings, and then make a decision from there about what you want to do.
Yay! Thank you. Hopefully, dear listener, that helps just to get a bit of perspective on procrastination.
Yeah, and let us know what are the tasks, what are the things that you're struggling with.
Yeah, let us
How
help
did you
keep
get
you
on?
accountable. That'd be fun. Reach out and tell us.
You realise now we've got to be accountable to a second bedroom,
Can't make me.
a set of workbooks, and some artwork.
Yeah.
And
the
Alo's drawers. So we'll come back to that one. It won't be the next podcast, but maybe maybe the one. We've got no chance in between,
Absolutely
but
not.
maybe the next one.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
We'll see
You
you
take
next
care,
time.
guys. Bye.
Bye.